Alright guys, so last week we checked out the Cambridge Audio P100 SE wireless noise cancelling headphones, and a lot of you guys in the comments section said that I need to check out the A100 true wireless earbuds. Now although they do have a stem style design which I'm just not a fan of, if it does have Cambridge Audio's tuning and noise canceling compared to their other models, while also having that dynamic EQ feature, which I really enjoyed in the P100 SE, I feel like it was worth checking out, especially the fact that these come in at $149. So first, let's start with the design. Now, they are available in both black and white. I do have the black version here, which is pretty much a fingerprint magnet because it has like this matte finish to it. The case itself is pretty tall. It does support Qi wireless charging, which is a huge plus, and it also has 3 indicator lights up front, just to kind of give you an idea of how much battery life is left on the case itself. Now, the earbuds themselves, like I said, they are a stem style design. And really, I don't know if it's the long stem or maybe it's the black finish, but it really kind of just has a cheap look to it. It doesn't look premium, especially given its $150 price tag. So tech-wise, the A100 has Bluetooth 5.4, so it does have that multi-point connection. They do also have LDAC playback, which is huge. It also supports Snapdragon sound with aptX adaptive playback as long as your device supports that. Now, they also have Cambridge Audio's AB amplification, which I feel like is what kind of helps Cambridge Audio's product stand out. It makes the sound very consistent throughout your listening, and it cuts down on having any kind of distortion. Now, they also use the exact same app that we just tested with the P100 SE, and essentially has a lot of the same functions within the app. Now, the big one for me is that it does have that dynamic EQ, which I feel makes a huge difference in the sound, especially if you're going to be listening to these at lower volumes. Now, you can also within the app turn these smart sensors on or off so that it will play or pause if you take the earbuds out or put them back in. You can also go in and put these in sleep mode, so it just disables the touch controls altogether. That way you can lay on them and not worry that it's going to accidentally do something you don't want them to do. There's also a gaming mode you can switch them into if you just want to cut down any kind of lag. And it also has a mono mode, which it says is there to maybe share with a friend, so you can all listen to the same thing at the same time. I'm not going to do that. I don't like sharing my earbuds with somebody else, but for those that do like it, it's nice that it has that feature. It also has several different EQ options. Now, none of these, in my opinion, were tuned the way that I like them. So luckily, you can also go in with the 7-band equalizer and just kind of tune it the way that you want to yourself. Now, I did also have to have 2 different EQ options, one with the noise canceling on and one with the noise canceling off, because it does have a different sound depending on what mode you have it in. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the noise canceling. Now, the noise canceling, in my opinion, is actually pretty good on these. It's not the best as in Sony or Bose level, but it's definitely good for the price tag. Just don't expect these to be great at blocking out like people talking or anything that has like a higher pitch sound to it. And the ambient mode I felt like was really good. I felt like it sounded pretty natural. It was very easy to carry on a conversation and never felt like I actually had to take these out of my ears. Now, the A100 does come with an IPX5 rating, so it means there's some decent water resistance here. It's just not waterproof, so make sure to keep it from dropping into like a puddle or just any body of water. Now, inside the box, it does come with 3 sets of silicone ear tips. As far as any kind of cables, it does come with a USB-C cable for charging. But like I said earlier, it does support Qi wireless charging, so you don't have to actually use this cable. And speaking of the charging, the battery life I felt like was pretty solid, as long as you're using it with the noise canceling off. Because with the noise canceling off, you can get about 11 hours on the earbuds on a single charge and about 39 hours using the case. Now, with the noise canceling on, the earbuds drop all the way down to only 6.5 hours of battery life, which is definitely not impressive. So most of the time I just left the noise canceling off. But it does have a pretty impressive fast charging feature. So if you do happen to pick them up and the earbuds are dead, a quick 10-minute charge will get you 3 hours of use. Now, if you are going to use these for taking phone calls, it does use 6 microphones total. and I feel like they pick up my voice very cleanly in both a noisy or just quiet environment. I didn't have any issues, but you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So I'm out here doing a mic test with the A100, and today there's actually a generator or maybe a pressure washer going on behind me. So this is just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call public. So now let's talk about the sound. Now these are using what they call 10mm deep bass drivers, and they definitely deliver on the bass aspect. In fact, out of the box, I kind of felt like they were a little too forward with the bass, to the point that it just warmed up the sound a little too much. Now, boomy is great as long as it's not affecting everything else, which I felt like all of the different preset EQ options just did have the low end affect things a little too much. But with the dynamic EQ still on, I went in and tuned these in a way that I felt that it sounded perfect. Now I'll show you both of these here. Again, one is with noise canceling on and one is with noise canceling off, because I do feel like with the noise canceling on, it still kind of boosts the bass a little bit more. But this is kind of common with a lot of earbuds and headphones that I test with noise canceling anyway. So with this EQ, it kind of brought everything out a little bit more cleanly, while still keeping the great bass that these had out of the box. I do feel like the sub bass is brought out really well in these, but it still feels controlled. It doesn't take over once you tune these a little bit more, again, than the way that it is out of the box. The mids, I felt like, are really good at standing out just enough. It never felt like it was right in front of my face, but it never felt like it was behind everything else either. And the treble on these, I felt like once tuned a certain way, you can get them to have a nice clean sparkle to them, but it never really kind of felt like this was too harsh or overly bright or anything like that. So if you like an over-the-top treble, I don't necessarily feel like these hit that mark. Again, I feel like they're a little bit more aimed at the low end, which I am a huge fan of. And again, I'm glad that I was able to get the treble to kind of match that in the way that I like it to. And then when it comes to the sound stage and the sound imaging, this isn't the most wide open true wireless earbud that I've heard, but it still does a decent job here. I still kind of, for the most part, felt like I was in a medium to large size room, but it does do a really good job of being able to tell where different sounds are coming from. So my overall opinion is I feel like Cambridge Audio has made a stem style earbud that pretty much destroys the AirPod Pros when it comes to the sound. I do feel like the AirPod Pros has better active noise canceling, but at the same time, these are $100 less than the AirPod Pros when the AirPods are at their retail price. Now, AirPods go on sale all the time, which will bring them a little bit closer price-wise, but it still kind of comes down to the sound. If you're looking for the best sound, especially between these two, I would say the Cambridge Audio is the way to go. Now, if you're just looking for, better noise canceling, if you're somebody that travels more often, I would say probably go with the AirPod Pros, especially if you're an Apple user. If you're an Android user, I'm already going to say the Cambridge Audio is the way to go. Again, I was disappointed in the fact that overall, I don't like the fingerprint magnet when it comes to the case, and I'm not a huge fan of stem style designs already, but I kind of felt like this one had a cheaper look to it. But at the end of the day, and I've said this in other videos, I'm always willing to pay a premium price as long as I feel like I'm getting the sound quality out of it. And the Cambridge Audio A100 definitely delivers when it comes to this. But guys, that's my video on the Cambridge Audio A100 True Wireless Earbuds. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.